Thank you. Just about an hour ago or so, President Joe Biden wrapped up his State of the Union. The president had strong words on the historic issues facing our country and the world. Biden discussed the war in Ukraine, Social Security, reproductive rights, and much more. But towards the beginning of his speech, the president called out former President Donald Trump and many of his supporters who push election conspiracies.
My predecessor and some of you here seek to bury the truth about January 6th. I will not do that. This is the moment to speak the truth and to bury the lies. Here's the simple truth. You can't love your country only when you win.
The president spoke for over an hour, touching on many issues affecting Arizona. Here to break it all down is 12 News journalist Bram Resnick. Hi, Bram.
Hey, Caribe. Roughly 20 million people watched this speech, many of them looking to see whether the 81-year-old president was physically up to the job. Polls have shown a lot of concerns about Joe Biden's age. Now, it is just one speech, 70 minutes long. What was most striking was Mr. Biden's higher energy compared to a year ago. Look at this side-by-side comparison of last year's State of the Union versus tonight's speech.
Some Republicans want Medicare and Social Security to sunset. I'm not saying it's a majority. We have two ways to go. Republicans can cut Social Security and give more tax breaks to the wealthy. That's the proposal. Oh no, you guys don't want another $2 trillion tax cut? I kind of thought that's what your plan was.
Joe Biden was more fired up than last year and even feistier than he was last year. And again, it's just one speech, but with the largest audience that President Biden will have this year as the presidential campaign kicks off. The president's agenda may or may not be persuasive for voters. The reality is it's unlikely anything he proposed tonight is going to be passed by the Republican House in the 8 months before the presidential election. Now, Donald Trump was doing a play-by-play on his Truth Social account. I want to read just a couple of takes from that. Quote, "That may be the angriest, least compassionate, and worst State of the Union speech ever made. It was an embarrassment to our country." And there was this. "Don't shake his hand. He's been coughing into it the entire night." Mark, Caribe?
Okay. All right, Bram. Did you feel like he missed anything or maybe avoided any issues in tonight's speech?
In 70 minutes, he hit virtually the entire Democratic agenda, including this new shrinkflation of fewer potato chips in a potato chip bag, but maybe that answers inflation concerns. That was in there. But again, it was sandwiched, all that was sandwiched by these really deep, abiding concerns about the fate of our democracy. He started the speech taking us back to 1941 after the attack on Pearl Harbor and Franklin Roosevelt's response to that. So clearly that is his greatest concern on that long list of ideas.
The biggest question that he answered tonight, at least in my mind, and I want to get your take on this, people wondered going into this State of the Union. He has, President Biden, historically low approval numbers. Does he have the vitality, the strength, and the spirit to go toe-to-toe with Donald Trump in November? And I think he answered that question tonight.
For one night, he did. Look, there was a lot of fear among Democrats, hope among Republicans that he would stumble. We've seen some issues before, fairly recently. He did not do that in a 70-minute speech. And so, again, one speech alone, if you watch this, you don't pay much attention to politics, you might be persuaded that he is an 81-year-old president who's up to the job.
He also channeled Ronald Reagan, which was interesting when he hearkened back to the tear down this wall speech that Reagan made. And I think he went right after Trump with that. What did you think?
He went right after Trump and the Republicans in the House and Senate on a few things. There was that and the immigration bill, the tough immigration bill that Kyrsten Sinema worked on, that ultimately was killed by Donald Trump, who said, "Don't vote on this, wait for me." Biden went right after them and said, "Look, vote on this bill, send it to me, it fixes the problem." Highlighting the contrast between him and Trump, Republicans and Democrats.
All right, Bram, thank you so much.
Sure thing.
Still